Write thou these words for men. Through my messengers I have told man to cast his bread upon the waters, and it would return to him multiplied. But he comprehendeth it not, even to this day. Through my messengers I have told man that it is not easy for him who loveth riches of earth alone to enter my kingdom. But he still fails to comprehend that he may have great riches and still find his way to me through obeying my one law. Write thou my law for him 100 times, yea, 100 times 100 times, and exemplify it unceasingly, that he may know it inviolate, that he may know it irrevocable, that he may find ecstasy in obeying it. Write thou again my oft-said words, desire you what you will, and it shall be thine. All my universe will give it thee in the strength of thy desires, and in the strength of thy action in reaching out for thy desire. Heed ye thy desires, lest they be unlawful. Measure ye thy desires carefully against their opposites, lest unbalanced desires breed their unbalanced kind to arise and smite thee. For again I say, my one principle of my one law is founded upon the solid rock of equal interchange between all pairs of opposite things, opposite conditions, or opposite transactions between men. My will must prevail on earth as it is in heaven. That which I divide to give to earths and their surrounding heavens of space is equal. That which earths give to their surrounding space balances that which space gives to earths. See thou my will thus working irrevocably in the starry systems, which constitute my immortal, eternal body. Note thou the precision of earth paths through their heavens. Know thou that such precision is result of obedience to my will, which my law is. Tell thou these workings of my law in the firmament of my body to man who knows these workings but denies me in them. Tell man my rhythms are absolute, else the interlacing of earth paths through their heavens could not be. Tell him also that chaos must arise from his unbalanced comings and goings, his givings and takings, even as chaos would arise from disobedience to my will in the comings and goings of earth paths through their heavens, or the givings and regivings of their interchanging pressures. When skies take on earth unequally with earth's taking of the skies, tornadoes tell both earth and skies that I am within and without them, yea, within and without every particle of them, and theirs is the agony of disobedience to my will. Not till they obey my will do they find peace and rest in my tranquility. These do I balance with my will as I balance all divided pairs in my universe of me. Likewise, when man takes aught from earth and gives naught to me for regiving through self of him, toxins arise within him which are tornadoes for his self-quelling. Say thou to men, you are my body. Hear thou me when I say that thy desires are thyself, yea, both body and spirit of thee. That which thou wouldest possess is thee, even though thou possess it not. In body it is thee, in pattern, seed, and soul it is thee. That thou canst not evade. Thou that thyself create thyself in thy image. If thou desirest gold of heaven, without balancing thy taking of it by giving gold of heaven in equal measure, thy very soul records the changing of thy unbalanced soul pattern to the measure of thy unbalancing. He who discords the patterns of my balanced will discords his very seed. Its rhythms he must make absolute, even as the disturbed rhythms of earth's storms must be made absolute. From this my decree there is no escape for man, nor star, nor galaxy in my universe, which I imagined into seeming being to manifest me. Balance thy desires, and they will bless thee with multiples of their kind. Beware lest thy taking shall outweigh thy giving, and gain thee naught. Consider well my will, disregard it not, for thou shalt well pay heavily for even 1 whit of its reaching. For I am balance, as heaven and earth's of my balanced radial body vary not 1 whit in their rhythmatic balance, so shall man vary not 1 whit. Unknowing man unthinkably counts upon his own power to set aside my one law to fit the measure of his desires. But I say, I alone hold balance. Man walks through his cycles upon a tautened rope. Wherever his foot touches, I am there, giving him foothold, as the fulcrum of his effort. From my rest at that fulcrum, he takes the power I give to him to express his desire. Without me he can do naught. And behold me also at each end of the lever of his action, to balance his unbalancing in my universe, which knows no unbalance. Yea, be it ever known that 2 eyes of man's very God watch over each action of each man whose body my body is. And if man would know where those 2 eyes of his God are located, I say, seek them at each end of his wavering pole, which keeps him upright upon his tautened rope. For man cannot be without me, even though he deny me in him. Have a care, therefore, that desires of man for things of earth be balanced by desires for heavenly blessings, without which man has naught. Know thou, my messenger, that I, thy God, ruleth over all things of my imagining. For I am absolute, and all things which extendeth from the light of my imagining are absolute. Likewise I am perfection, as I am truth. All things which extendeth from me are perfect, they are truth. That which seems imperfect to man's eyes is but seeming, for he sees not all. Could he see all, he would see all perfect. As the unfinished picture seems imperfect in man's eyes, for it is not the whole, it is perfect could he see the whole. Likewise, each brushstroke of a concept is perfect for that stage of its unfolding. Likewise, each stage of man's unfolding is a perfect part of the whole idea of man's unfolding. There is no evil in it, nor is there imperfection anywhere. There is but the one whole of everything in me, and all is perfect, all is absolute. For my universe is but the forever unfolding, refolding of my one whole ideal. As my whole ideal is perfect, so also is each part perfect. For I watch over all borning things until their rebirth in me. At their birth in me, their perfection is my perfection. Likewise, at their rebirth in me, their perfection is their inheritance from me. At each stage of their unfolding and refolding, they are absolute and perfect, for I am absolute and perfect. That which man lacks in his knowing is still his in me, awaiting his desire for knowing. When he desires to know, he may know. Likewise, that which man seemingly unbalances in his actions is balanced in me, awaiting his balancing. And that day will come, for man cannot evade that day. Unbalance and imperfection exist not, therefore, save in man's timed seeing. For him who knows my light, there is no timed seeing. Desire of man or tree or earth or giant nebula is balanced in me always. Unbalance exists not in my house. Imperfection and untruth likewise exist not in my house. Likewise error and evil exist not in my house. These are but each end of man's balance pole, upon which he walks waveringly through his cycles, knowing not that I am there, measuring his unbalancing to void it at the other end with equal, opposite measure. For I balance all things as they occur, by voiding all things as they occur. For hark thou me as I again say, that all my universe is but my imaginings, and I am not my imaginings. Thus do I watch over earths which desire extensions of their paths to outer reaches further from their mother suns. 2 eyes have I to watch over each of these, 2 eyes to balance each with each, and 2 to balance each with every other thing that is. And likewise, when earths give birth to moons, 2 eyes have I for these 2 also, 2 eyes to measure paths for them, which balance with paths of all things else in the universe. And likewise, when earth mothers men and other extensions of my life, to pulse my pulse of life and live in me, 2 eyes have I for each countless part of them, to watch over each separate part, to keep it one with all my universe. Not the various microcosm in all my electric body, which is not thus double-poled, within and without, by my 2 watchful eyes. No path of man or bird or creeping thing lies unmeasured and unwatched by me. All paths of all things in my radial body are but one path, for, of a verity I say, that slightest move of creeping thing on this small earth is recorded upon all paths of all things, even to giant star beyond man's seeing. Thus do I control all desires of all things which manifest my one ideal. Likewise I see to it that all their happenings which man calls bad or good, or error or evil, add up to the 0 of balance in me. For there is naught in my universe which can be added to or subtracted from, which is more or less than the 0 from which all things spring into their seeming being, to end where they begin, for re-beginning. Hear me again say, there are not 2 halves of a divided one in all the pairs of opposites of my universe. There are but a seeming 2, and each one of these is of the other one, while seeming to be 2, and each becomes the other one sequentially to maintain that seeming. There is naught upon the earth which comes not from the heavens. Likewise there is naught within the heavens which comes not from their centering earths and suns. Each quickens the other, with the giving of each to each, equally, for each other's equal re-giving. Again I say that equal interchange is my will. He who desires aught in my cosmos must obey my will. He who so obeys my will commands my will to fruition of his desire.